Okay, item 7 on our agenda tonight is PRE 15042, John Street, David A. Mack Properties LLC. Preliminary discussion of Clinton Station.
Good evening. Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, Attorney Marjorie Shansky. I'm here with David Mack from David A. Mack Properties LLC and with Ron Nault from Carlo and Dahl, the site engineers. We're here to discuss with you preliminarily our future application, our in progress now application for a special exception for the adaptive reuse of the Ponds Unilever facility on John Street as a commercial recreation, indoor commercial recreation facility type A. And I think I'm going to let Mr. Nault do the talking about the plan, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Further back, sure.
Is there any way to turn those lights on?
No, I forgot where to put it.
Good evening. My name is Ron Nault. I'm a professional engineer here to talk about the proposed modifications to create an indoor commercial recreational facility. Just to orient you, this is the Unilever Cheeseboro Ponds facility, the main big building, 3-story building oriented here, the larger factory to the north, couple of the existing outbuildings as well. Roadway network serving the facility, Route 81 through the bend here at Hull Street, Central Avenue to John Street, and then into the property here, around the building to the main entrance, which is really along the backside, as well as site access continuing under its current conditions from North High Street down the long driveway as part of the property here. No change to the outdoor facilities proposed now, other than pavement marking and cleaning up some handicap parking in conformance with current regulations, creating a better traffic flow pattern of traffic entering the site, including a pedestrian passenger drop-off area here right by the main entrance as well. We've had informal discussions with the fire marshal, and we've talked about fire lane access, areas where he might be available to park the ladder truck to get access to the roof as well. So this is the outside plan, the site plan, really showing basically what's existing today. There's a large existing paved parking area here, large parking area to the north of the facility here, and this is the portion of the property that's under consideration now. The part of the interior use is shown on the third. Well, first of all, just cruise through it. This shows the proposed fire lane, handicap parking, pavement markings, lighting and landscaping. We'll be using the existing lighting, supplemented in a couple of places with some more of the building-mounted lights in a full cutoff fixtures, supplemental lighting to achieve the standard for pedestrian, additional lighting at the entrance for safety at the drop-off area as well. Existing lighting around the facility also. Again, back to really the plan. So this is the same building that you just saw, now cut up into interior uses as part of the indoor commercial recreational facility. The heart of the application, or the heart of the project is a twin ice rinks facility as an anchor tenant. Fits inside the existing building modifications made to the existing column and joist structure that exists in the building, to create the open areas needed, obviously, for hockey rinks and other large indoor sports facilities as well. Other uses that we anticipate to follow the twin rinks proposal would be pro shop retail in support of that. Also, the second largest use would be an open big field here, soccer field and training center here, fitness center, traditional fitness center, sports medicine, interest from a doctor's group, performance training areas as well. The building is well served by restrooms and locker rooms currently that could be used for changing rooms as well. There's a series of restrooms here, and restrooms here. We would manage flow through a kind of an entrance security area here, and then a kind of a common walkway to get people to and from the main entrance. And we'll be addressing life safety egress plans accordingly. Other uses would be a restaurant food service area, in the facility, place for athletes to warm up. Another flex training area over here. This area of the building is a little loading dock, has higher ceilings, more conducive to sport that has higher headroom requirements as well. So the entire building would be reused for sports uses, indoor commercial recreational official terminology, using the parking on site as well. Relatively low parking demand for these uses. The full application will have traffic study and the other supporting documentation as well. So this is served by way of an introduction to the project with David plans to attract the sports tenants to the facility and the ancillary services that will come in demand or in support of the ice rink, the soccer field. We anticipate it being a four-season use as well, operated through the hours. You know, Saturday's obviously a busy day for Saturday and Sunday for league play and nighttime hockey rink timing and other uses, all within the town's code. So we come here seeking, input, gauge your ideas, some of the issues that we might be facing when we come before you with a formal application.
One question, the soccer field, is that within the building? So
Yes.
It's an indoor soccer field?
I'm sorry, the whole use are indoor facilities.
Okay, so you're not doing anything on the outside at this time?
Correct.
What's the green in the lower left corner?
It's called, this was one of their old warehouses or storage. It's a 30-foot high ceiling, so we have it called out as rock climbing. Just another possible indoor sports use, climbing walls and the like.
And that orange corresponds to the old Art Deco facade.
Correct. The three-story Art Deco goes here in an L shape and is in that footprint as well.
I don't know what you've marked on that orange.
Sports training area. In general terms, waiting for demand to catch up with supply.
That's one way to put it.
The gym you were proposing, is that a type of membership gym, or what was that?
We contemplated a traditional weightlifting equipment, machines. So how that groups into people using the facility as part of their visit and entry fee, and that I don't know that we've developed yet. It could also be a standalone gym if there was a demand. Traditional gym for monthly fee.
Would there be showers? Part of that?
There is potentially, there's showers in the existing facility to the extent that some of the users would request it. The discussions with the hockey rink people seem that they're interested in the concept of showers. Soccer less so. Just seeing my kids go through these types of facilities, they didn't typically shower at the facility.
I was thinking more about the health facility, the fitness
The
center.
fitness center. To be determined is, there are showers in the facility, we just haven't.
I mean, one of the things that we heard when we were about the rinks was the need for dedicated dressing rooms for teams.
Team rooms, sure.
Team rooms, and I don't, is there any plan for that in this? Do you see a provision for that? It seemed to be pretty critical when we were hearing that from.
That's what the athletic warm-up area was contemplated as, whether this moves here and that moves there. We're still waiting to get this, the layout of the rinks finalized. It's going to take some modification of the structure, just as the soccer field area. To create the large open span, have, sister up the columns that are going to stay and create a system to support the larger span. So, a work in progress in terms of where everything fits, but yes, we would have a team and rooms actually for the use.
So there's no real retail contemplated, it's just strictly a sports facility, indoor
complex.
sports facility, primary use is hockey and soccer.
Or anything.
Or a sports venue,
Yes, I mean, we don't have any retail only to the extent that the pro shop is there to sell hockey sticks at break or
Okay.
soccer balls.
and you mentioned restaurants.
There's no retail component here at all.
Yes, you did.
Well, there's a shops.
Well, the sports shop for
Right, sports shops, but nothing.
collateral use for hockey
talking about
and
different
soccer
types.
players.
And the restaurant is more just like a
What are the
cafeteria bar, like that kind of
the
thing.
size of the ice rink and the square footage of all the ice rink
Yeah,
areas?
so that's the white area, the largest, just over 70,000 square feet.
70,000. The shoreline ice people that are going to be in that facility?
Sorry.
Yes, along with another operator.
I see, but how much of that will, the shoreline is supposed to be in another location?
David Mack, the sponsor of this proposed development. Yeah, yes, Shoreline has teamed up with Ice Management out of Stamford, Connecticut, who runs the twin ice rinks in Stamford, which is perhaps the most successful operator in the country. And so they've teamed up together to do this project. And we are looking at the ice rinks, frankly, at this juncture as being the anchor, if you will, to get this started. We've had numerous inquiries from a number of different sports venues, and so some of the questions we can't answer for you now because we just haven't gotten that far yet. Once we get the ice rink solidified and their design is solid, then we will start moving on to some of the other uses within the facility and determine whether we need to expand shower, bathroom facilities, egress, all the things that would be necessary to make these things function together. One of the things we do plan to do, which I think would be attractive to everyone, is that these will all be linked together so you can get from one spot to the other. We're going to have one control element in here, and so people will come in through the control element, they'll check in, whether they're going to soccer, whether they're going to the fitness center, whether they're coming for sports training, whatever it is, will all come in through one central checkpoint at this stage of the game.
But the ice rinks will be the largest part of the largest tenant, if you will, so to speak, won't they, of the?
It seems so at this juncture. I mean, this is a big building.
Right.
This is a 270,000 square foot building. So right now 70,000 is big, but if somebody took the whole 3 stories of the Art Deco building, that's 90,000 square feet.
Is this all one level then, this part of the building?
This part, so the orange is the 3-story, everything else is 1 story.
So that's the factor.
And all
all of what we see there is existing, including that little blue thing with post
Right.
out,
We're not adding a single thing,
or taking anything off.
or taking anything off at this point. There, we may, as time goes on, do some selective demolition. You know, there's some silos there that held chemicals in the old days. We don't think that's necessarily attractive thing to be having around. This is a mechanical room here. That I believe will stay. This light green building is very tall in one section and lower in another section, but it's not attached. I'm a little bit, I prefer that it was attached in some ways so that these things could work together, but we don't have a deal with a rock climbing outfit yet, and it could be a lot of other things too. It's just too early. We had a moving and storage company who wanted to go into it right away, and we turned down the deal because we thought it might color where we were going with this whole development.
One concern I'm sure that will develop is in terms of traffic generating. I know it's preliminary, and I know it's early, you haven't done a traffic study, but are you contemplating having a heavy impact over the weekend on the local roads?
It'll be heavier on the weekends than it would be during the week. You know, impossible to say it wouldn't be. Anybody who has young kids and have brought them to places similar to this will know that it's going to be heavier on the weekends than it will be during the week. However, during the week, it's fairly evenly distributed. When you know, Unilever was here, they ran 3 shifts at this building, so people were coming in and out of this building all night long, 24 hours. Now, this won't be 24 hours, but it probably will be 20 hours, as a lot of these programs, interestingly enough, are in such demand that kids go at 4 o'clock in the morning and end up leaving at midnight sometimes.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to let you know, did you ever come off exit 63 and make a right?
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a quick left, you're right on the property. I mean,
Well, that's
that alleviates a lot of traffic problems.
So that you're not at this point anticipating any facade changes.
Not
And there was some discussion that I'd heard, almost rumored level, of the possibility of train cars and restaurants or something on the siding. Do we know anything about that?
way too early. We're here trying to get the sports facility done. This is a big piece of property. There's 30 acres there. We're trying to do something that the town will be proud of, and it'll be a centerpiece of the town that attracts families and a great place for kids to go to stay out of trouble. And what else develops, we'll be back to see you as we continue to
So you anticipate at this
have.
point that you're talking only about the existing buildings?
That's correct.
And your priorities at this point are the interior as opposed to any painting of the exterior?
Absolutely zero to the building at this point, just the way it is today. One of the reasons we got attracted to this building and started to attract sports venues is because we can offer the space at an inexpensive price. That's the magic of this being able to happen.
Do you have any idea, in these facilities, the range of which it's use league as opposed to individuals? It's going to be pretty much league use, I would imagine.
No, actually not. It's surprising.
I mean, I don't know the patterns.
Yeah, and frankly, I'm not the perfect guy to be talking about all of that because, you know, I'm not the operator. But what I have been told by the operator is that, you know, you'll have free skate times, you'll have league times. The league times will typically be on the shoulders, so early in the morning, later in the evening. There'll be some adult times too. You know, kind of as people's schedules work, but this will be open to the public to come in and have, you know, free public skate times at certain times during the day.
Do you envision any spectators in the heights?
Limited,
Limited, okay.
Very limited, because the operator in Stamford who runs this very successful operation has basically told us that he put some stands in, and the stands are always empty. So it's limited.
Where do the parents go then?
There's enough, I mean, there's a couple of rows, but where he put more of a viewing stand in, nobody seems to go there. One of the things we contemplated, but we're not there yet, is to, I don't know how I can do this, maybe on this side. I've been thinking about, this as spectator viewing area for anybody who can't see, but I've been thinking about maybe connecting the three-story building with a glass, basically a glass skylight over in this area here, so that this building can look down into an open courtyard. But I'm not there yet.
We do show schematically spectator viewing areas adjacent to the hockey rinks, a couple rows of bleachers.
I understand that one of the board select meeting last week, something that we did in the shoreline ice regulations to try to make that possible has some ironically negative impact on what you're trying to do. I don't completely understand what that is and how that might be alleviated in a way that could be more accommodating to you. Can either your attorney or someone explain from it? Or if there's a misunderstanding here what that is, you know what I'm talking about?
I do,
Okay.
exactly.
I know, so that's good that you do.
Ironically, the shoreline ice amendment made this proposal for the adaptive reuse of this building not legal under your regulations, but there has been a workaround to it, which is that currently the Zoning Board of Appeals has granted a variance that legalizes this endeavor.
Now, I gather there was, at that hearing, there was some resistance to the variance, and even though it was granted, that there may be, that it may be taken to court. Have you heard anything of that?
When nothing has been filed as of this date, to our knowledge, and there could be something, one moment please.
Sure.
But as a workaround, we have filed with the commission last week an application to amend the regulations to overcome either that eventuality with an appeal or to recognize adaptive reuse as being a desirable mechanism through your regulations for this use.
I guess the question I have is, if we reversed what we just did, would that solve your problem?
No, there were several pieces of the earlier amendment, only some of which sort of affected this. There were pieces that you really wanted. What we're looking at potentially doing, Kirk, is the regulation talked about footprint size, and it talked about footprint size, whether existing or new footprint. So we're looking at changing the regulation to just say that you can't put a new footprint of more than 40,000 or 70,000 footprint in size, but you should be able to reuse an existing footprint of greater than that size, provided you don't change the outside of the building. There are other things that potentially can get built in there. But the thought of the original regulation was to prevent new buildings above a certain size. It was not, I don't think, contemplated at that point to prevent the reuse of an existing building of that footprint. So I think if there is an appeal, we do need to go through that sort of workaround route, not to repeal the entire regulation, because there are things in there that were needed, but to potentially recognize the difference between new construction and reuse of existing footprints of buildings.
And that application is pending in front of the commission, and you'll receive it later at your next meeting.
That was going to be my question. I haven't seen it.
Right, it was filed, and it will be received by the commission on March 30th, to my understanding.
That's the cutoff for the next meeting. So the next meeting is April 13th.
Pardon me, April 13th.
And it's because they missed the cutoff for this meeting. That it's not on this agenda. Because
Myself and our vice chair, Alan Kravitz, we're working on the DCI grant, so we're very versed in that. And I was curious about the historic tax credits on the facade, and I guess there were concerns about the limitations of those.
We have any of them. To tell you the truth, I'm so focused on This has very complicated environmental going on in the site that we're going to be in charge of cleaning up. There's so many issues going on with this thing that I can't focus on the tax credits at the moment, but we will focus on those at some point.
I'm sorry.
I have other questions.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The other topic, which was the flow-through of the site, whether or not there's been any proposal to the town actually making it a town road to alleviate some of the traffic issues if it was a town road to create circulation in this area of the town that it has a problem, especially in the summer when the town doubles in size.
Sure. I mean, I'd be all for trying to help make something like that happen.
The other questions I had were along the southern portion of the site.
Yes.
It's not exactly the most conducive location, but we were talking about creating a path along there to get people from the railroad station to circulate around the site. But should there be potential for residential in the northwest portion of the site eventually, if that's
Sure.
the case?
Sure. I mean, I have the same goals as you as far as that's concerned, and you know, the flyover that's going to happen at the railroad station there, I think is going to be terrific, and being able to have people from the pond side of the site be able to link over to the downtown side by just going over the flyover. And you know, we also think and hope that people will, you know, be able to have their kids use the railroad, frankly, to be able to get to and from the site.
Have you thought at all about the access to the eastern side of the building? Because that's where the train station is, and then there's a big piece of parking.
That parking will be part of our development. We don't want to use it for the recreational side. We want to tie that to whatever happens in the three-story building, because the front door of Ponds is located on that side of the building. And so we just want to reserve that parking area right now for...
I was really asking the broader question about, from the town's point of view, I think, we're interested in people who come to this, parking, leaving their cars there, and perhaps walking into town. It's very difficult with the entrance of this facility in the back of the building. There's no, you know, one of the things we talked about when we looked at the site was getting some through movement through the building.
Okay, I'm sorry, I misread your question. I want to do the same thing as you want to do as it relates to that. We're just hurling in. All the parking is on that side of the building. And so from a security standpoint and from a fire safety standpoint, until we're ready to use the three-story portion of the building, that would be the place to walk them through, where they could go right through that section of the building and go out and get to downtown.
Well, I thought about it when you mentioned the possibility of a glass connection between.
Another place where we could potentially put it.
Make a link.
Yeah, is make a link there, but we're just not at that stage yet to be able to do those things. Because one of the things, if the ice rink is the first thing to be completed, is, you know, the fire department, and we've met with the assistant fire marshal, is going to want to make sure that people can't get to any other sections of this building. So they're in a controlled area, and that they're, you know, nobody's wandering around the unused portions of the building. So we're actually having to block off entrances, you know, where kids could go wandering, you know, with cement block, just to keep it fire safe.
On an interim basis.
Interim, yeah. Ultimately, this thing is going to flow beautifully.
I presume you are, but I'm going to ask a question anyway. Familiar with the Cecil Group work that was done?
Very much.
Because that does go into these tax credits, and it's kind of a roadmap. I have to say that the Cecil Group, I think, reported very conventional thinking. This was somewhat unconventional, and I welcome that. You know, so I think that this could be a very transformational opportunity for the town, and we've seen the Unilever site is a site that we really want to see something happen. So I think that I can't speak for the entire, but we were excited that somebody was contemplating doing something that was as creative as it appears to be.
Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you again, I'm sure.
Appreciate all your comments.